Today's video is all about kimchi. Savory, umami, pungent, briny, spicy, satisfying kimchi. I've come to Koreatown in Los Angeles to show you 4 restaurants that serve my favorite types of kimchi along with the dishes that complement them so well. But first, let me share with you a quick story of my complicated past with kimchi. I'm what you call a 1.5 generation Korean American. I was born in South Korea and grew up around my extended family till I moved to the States with my parents and older sister when I was in 1st grade. Like many immigrants, my adolescence was defined by one goal: to fit in, to be American. In 4th grade, I started bringing my lunch to school, packed lovingly by my mom. But as we all know, Korean food has a strong smell, and my white classmates just couldn't help but comment on how grossed out they were. And whenever my friends would come over to my home, I'd be afraid to open our refrigerator door because the worst offenders sat in a jar oozing with that unmistakable scent of fermented cabbage. I eventually grew out of that phase and learned to be proud of my heritage. And now, as you all know, Korean food is trendy, like many other parts of our culture. But before it was trendy to put kimchi on everything, it was our food that was once rejected by the same people that now embrace it. And I think an entire culture's cuisine gets perceived as trendy only because there's a lack of knowledge of its history and significance. So come with me to the first restaurant as I share why certain Korean dishes mean so much to me. Hangari Kalguksu hasn't been around too long, but has quickly become a crowd favorite with long wait times and a recent building expansion. It's known for bajirak kalguksu or knife-cut noodles with clams, but this restaurant has 2 distinct representations of kimchi I want to share with you. The first is yarmu kimchi, which is served with their complimentary appetizer of boribap, or barley rice. Yarmu kimchi is made with young radish greens that's served in the summer, oftentimes in cold noodles. It's refreshing and less salty than your typical Napa cabbage kimchi. Here, it's a great pairing to their boribap that comes with a simple fermented soybean sauce. Barley used to be considered the poor man's rice. White rice was meant for royalty or the rich. But now, barley is a health food that is enjoyed by all. It's funny how so many foods from different cultures born from poverty are now beloved for its health properties. And it tastes good too. It's so simple, but I always look forward to getting this nourishing bowl before the main dish comes out. The next dish is bossam, and I can't eat it without thinking of my grandmother. She was a kimchi master of our family, and it was tradition to make bossam every time the family gathered together to make the Napa cabbage kimchi. As I've mentioned before in my Korea vlog, she has dementia, so unfortunately I won't be able to taste her cooking ever again. But having this dish always reminds me of where my taste for kimchi comes from. The dish utilizes salted cabbage as the wrap, which is the first step in the kimchi making process. The pork that is served is simply boiled with a flavorful broth, which leaves it tasting clean and not too overpowering. You're supposed to dip it in seojut, or salted fermented shrimp, another kimchi ingredient. Then wrap it with the salted cabbage with garlic, chili pepper, and muzengchae, or sweet and spicy radish salad. You must consume it in one bite because the combination of those ingredients make for one amazing flavor bomb in your mouth. Taste of childhood. This is definitely a case where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It represents the generational tradition of making kimchi, a food that is so meaningful and resilient. If you've been stuck at level Korean barbecue on your Korean food journey, you must try bossam. It will leave you feeling a lot cleaner and lighter than a plate of grilled meats. Lastly, we have bajirak kalguksu. This dish always has a special place in my heart because it would be the closer every time my aunt took me to eat grilled clams at Jebu-do, a famous island town in Korea. I actually used to not enjoy knife-cut noodles as much till I had it with clams. It just works so much better than with chicken or any other ingredients, in my opinion. And the broth here is super flavorful with a bit of heat from the chili pepper. Pair that with yarmu kimchi and it's heaven. Thankfully, my friend was able to join me so I could enjoy both the noodles and the bossam, and I suggest you do the same. The next day we head to Hanbat, a staple of Koreatown restaurants, to have seolleongtang or oxbone soup. My dad first introduced me to Hanbat long ago and I have been a loyal customer ever since. Old Korean men from my dad's generation always find the best soups and stews. Maybe because it's something that could be made cheaply in great quantities that almost always included some sort of meat. It's hearty, nourishing, and warms your bones. But it will never be complete without some ripe, crunchy, and slightly sweet gakdugi or cubed radish kimchi. The sharp, crisp flavors and textures of this kimchi will wake up your taste buds after each soothing sip of that milky, silky bone broth. Before you can enjoy your soup, however, you need 4 ingredients to flavor your broth. Every person has their own preference, as you'll see between my friend and me. After pepper and salt to taste, I like to mix in a good amount of tadegi, a chili paste mixture. This helps to mellow out the beefy flavor. To brighten up the bowl even more, I add in a hefty amount of diced green onions. Some people pour in the gakdugi juice like my friend. No judgment if you do, but I feel like the kimchi flavor overpowers the taste of the broth. My grandma used to make a version of this for breakfast, and it was called hayanguk or white soup served with her delicious gakdugi. That's why it took me a while to adjust to American breakfast when I first moved to the States. I was just too used to delicious soup and kimchi in the mornings. Their cabbage kimchi is good too, salty and dense like most restaurant-style kimchi. But when there's good gakdugi around, I don't see any other kimchi in the room. There's just no way to portray how satisfying it is to eat this combination of flavors. The soup is so rich and soothing, and the gakdugi is so bright and savory. Seolleongtang is one of those quintessential soups that will melt your heart. Come to Hanbat on a cold, rainy, miserable day, or pick it up when you're feeling sick, and this piping hot cauldron of soup paired with gakdugi will comfort you like few things can. Next, we head over to Gilmok, or the corner place. Most Korean barbecue places are known for their meat, but this long-standing establishment is sought after for their dongchimi guksu, or cold noodles in radish water kimchi. Neither trendy nor modern like the newer Korean barbecue restaurants, it still attracts many patrons thanks to this one dish. And no other place even comes close. Korean grilled meats always taste better paired with some cold noodles, or vice versa. But not to worry, vegan folks, the noodles are still wonderfully delicious all by itself and completely vegan friendly. My friend and I decided to share one order of the brisket because the thicker cuts felt too heavy for lunch. The best part of dongchimi or radish water kimchi is that nothing goes to waste. The brine is meant to be consumed just as much as the radish itself. That's why it's the perfect home for some cold noodles. When the ginormous bowl arrives at your table, you should first take a sip of the soup. That first sip will always be the most refreshing spoonful. The cold broth is delightfully balanced with briny, fizzy, and sweet notes. It has an addictive quality to it without it feeling unhealthy. Then you have the first bite of the thin wheat flour noodles with some of the julienne cucumbers, chased with a bite of radish, paired with the grilled brisket, and you are in heaven. The refreshing flavors of the broth and the crunchy radish really cuts through the fat of the brisket, continuously resetting your palate for an enjoyable cycle of meat and noodles, meat and noodles. Dongchimi guksu is actually not that commonplace, and it wasn't until I was in high school or college that I visited this restaurant. But with one sip, I knew I would be coming back here for years to come. And it's so comforting to know that not much has changed, and I hope it continues on for the foreseeable future. Our last restaurant is the well-known MDK noodles. Like their name suggests, they're known for their noodles. While many come for their kalguksu, I love their cold noodles. But my favorite by far is their kongguksu, or cold soy milk noodle soup, which is only available in the summer. This is a dish that must be enjoyed with good kimchi. And MDK has 2 types of cabbage kimchi that is on the less fermented side. One is spicy, made with chili powder and garlic, while the other is just briny and milder in flavor. To pair with the nutty, clean taste of the kongguksu, the spicy, garlicky kimchi works best. But first, you must sprinkle some salt on the noodles to bring out the flavors of the soy milk. And once you take a slurp of those noodles, you must immediately chase it with the kimchi. This is such an unassuming winning combination of flavors. From afar, it may seem boring and bland, but don't be fooled. It is an addictive type of relationship, a case of when opposites attract. Just as soon as you are comforted by the nutty and slightly thick cold soup, the spice and garlic of the kimchi wakes up your palate and you're ready to go again. My mom used to make us kongguksu often in the summer. It's one of those simple, affordable meals that is deeply satisfying but doesn't require any animal protein. The soy milk is made from scratch in a blender with pine nuts and sesame seeds, and you add water based on how thick you like it. My love for kongguksu came from my mom's cooking, and it always warms me on the inside while cooling me down on the outside on a very hot day. These are just a few of the kimchi dish pairings that are beloved by the Korean diaspora, always reminding us of our homeland. There's often been this way of talking about a culture's cuisine as being up and coming or having a moment. I feel like that kind of narrative diminishes how dear and ever-present it has been to the people that it came from. I believe food is a way of connecting us to a culture. It's filled with love, memories, hardships, celebrations, and everything in between. It represents both the beautiful and the heartbreaking past of the people that have shaped both its evolution and its preservation up to this very point. And we are all so damn lucky to be able to enjoy that cherished work so easily at a restaurant. So let's continue to be open and explore different foods from different cultures, and not wait until it becomes popular or widely known. Thank you for watching. I know this was a departure from my previous travel vlogs, so let me know if you enjoyed this type of video and if you could relate to my story. I would also love to learn about the foods and restaurants you grew up with, so please share with me in the comments. As always, please subscribe, like, and share. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. It's simple to do, but it really helps me out a lot. See you next time!